Today, I'm going to be building my dream MacBook productivity setup, and this is what I'm currently working with. So for my desk, I have this IKEA butcher block that's really long, which is honestly going to be perfect for this setup. And I also have this standing desk frame right here. This is going to be a standing desk, which means that I can go sit to stand on this setup whenever I want. So let's get this thing set up. I started by getting the desk frame all centered using a measuring tape, and I also used painter's tape just to mark out where everything is in case it moves around. After that, I drilled in the pilot holes for the screws. This is going to make it really easy to get this thing screwed in. Once I finished that up, I screwed in the frame to the desk. I know a lot of people actually prefer to not screw it in, but I'm not trying to have this thing fall on me because this thing is pretty heavy. Now I did some more Bob the Builder activities, just making sure this thing's perfectly centered for what I'm about to do next. Now, one of my biggest issues has been sound leakage with having my setup on this side. On the other end of the wall is the guest room, so anytime I'm up late at night filming, editing, or listening to music, a lot of that sound does end up leaking through. So to fix that, I have these foam panels sent out by ArrowZoom, which will not only make this setup look a lot better, but will also fix my issue of sound leakage, as these are sound dampening foam panels. So let's go ahead and get these set up. Setting these up was fairly simple. All I did was attach double-sided tape to all the corners and tape it directly to my wall. Now what these foam panels do is they absorb sound, which reduces echo, reverb, and ambient noise, meaning you not only get a quieter room, but the audio quality inside your room will actually improve. Walking into my room, it genuinely feels like I'm in a studio, and the best part is this is going to improve the audio quality for my videos as well. So thank you to ArrowZoom for sending these panels out, and the link to them will be in the description, and be sure to go and check them out. Next thing I'm going to do is get both these monitors onto this setup and start cable managing it. I'm also going to give these a quick wipe down as they are kind of dirty. The MacBook I'm using for this setup is my MacBook Air M4. I spec'd up the GPU and storage on this thing so I'd be able to edit videos, and since getting it, I ended up using it so much that I'm actually turning it into a full desktop workstation. I also have this laptop stand I got off Amazon, which I'm using to prop this up, and it sort of acts as a third monitor, which I'll have my less important tabs on. To connect these monitors to my MacBook, I'm going to be using the Wavlink Thunderbolt 5 docking station. I ended up attaching this to my laptop stand, which hides the docking station perfectly, alongside all the cables behind it. When I put my laptop on this stand now, which unless I'm taking it somewhere, it's 90% of the time going to be on the stand, it's now always going to be charging, and I'll have additional ports for all my other devices with only one single cable going into my MacBook. I also added in my ambient light bars, which you'll see later on in this video really elevate this setup. Fifine also sent out a new mic, Boomarm, and audio interface for me to use in building this setup, so let's get to installing all this stuff. This is the low profile Boomarm, which is really sleek, and the all black design fits into my setup so well. The built-in cable management allows for me to route my XLR cable directly into this, which is something a lot of Boomarms are lacking. The Boomarm folds right into itself, allowing me to save space when I'm not using it, and when I want to use it, I can fold it out in just a couple of seconds. For the mic, we have the Fifine Amplitank 6, which is an XLR microphone with very good audio quality. All the voiceovers in this video, including this one right now, are actually recorded with this microphone, and I have to say it's a huge upgrade from my old audio setup. I also got my hands on their audio interface, which allows for me to use this microphone with the XLR cable and control all of my audio settings directly from this little hub. So thank you to Fifine for sending all this stuff out, and the link to all the stuff in my setup will be in the description. Now let's get down to the worst part about building a setup, the cable management. Every single one of my other setups, the cable management has been horrible. There was always a couple cables sticking out, which would completely ruin the aesthetic. So this time I'm gonna try and go for a cableless look where there isn't a lot of cables all over the place. It genuinely took me a couple of hours to get this done, but once I finished up, there was barely any cables sticking out. Now the only thing that's left to do is get my peripherals onto here, so let's get to that. For my keyboard, I'm going to be using the Low Free Flow Lite. This is basically an ultra sleek mechanical keyboard. I'm honestly so surprised by how thin it is. You guys already know me, I have a ton of keyboards, but I needed something that kind of matched the aesthetic of the MacBook Air, and I feel like this is the perfect keyboard for that. Now this keyboard is very low profile and has a really nice solid typing feel. I do believe the switches on this are lubed, giving it that premium feel. Let me give you guys a quick sound test. This genuinely feels better than my $400 keyboard. And on top of that, it's only around 70 bucks on Amazon. I'll 100% be using this long term, especially in this setup. It's also around 84 keys, giving me all the necessary keys I need, while also having a very clean and minimal design. Now I feel like this keyboard is going to be great to use in the day-to-day. I've been looking for a sleek, minimal keyboard to fit into my MacBook setup, and this is exactly what I was looking for. The link to this keyboard will of course be in the description, so be sure to check it out. Also, it's around like 3 a.m. right now. I'm low-key not even that tired, but I cannot go to sleep until I finish this video. Like tomorrow I got a bunch of editing to do, so let's get to the next part of the setup. For my mouse, I'm just going to be using my Razer Viper Ultimate. Only reason I'm using this is because it is wireless. It is kind of busted up, so I should probably get another mouse because this one is more of a gaming mouse, I'd say. But for the most part, it helps me keep that minimalistic look on my setup without having any wires in the way. Now I'm kind of debating putting a mouse pad on this. I feel like it would look nice, but I kind of like this raw wood. So shout out to my cousin big time for coming through with this, because yo, this is like the centerpiece of the setup and it makes it look so much better. For my chair, I'm using the Razer Isker V2. This is an ergonomic chair with really good lumbar support. I've had this chair for like 8 months, I believe, and it's hands down one of the best purchases I ever made in this setup. If you're using a bad chair, I highly recommend upgrading to an ergonomic one. You'll definitely notice a huge difference. Now, since this setup is heavily focused on productivity, TickTime decided to send out their TK3 Pomodoro timer cube, which if you don't know what this is, it's basically a mini productivity timer, and on each side it has different times ranging from 5 minutes all the way up to 60 minutes. Setting a timer is actually one of the best productivity hacks, whether you're trying to study, work, or just focus on something for an extended period of time. Having a timer in front of you helps out so much. Whenever I'm working, I usually have a timer on my Mac screen, but now having a dedicated device which actually vibrates and has different sound effects to let you know time's up, it's going to be such a game changer. It has a really unique design, and when you turn the cube on its side, the little display will actually rotate to make sure that it always stays upright, which gives it that premium feel. It comes with this little base which charges the device, and these buttons lighting up is such a neat feature. Using this little disc on the back, you can actually set a custom time as well if you're looking for a longer or shorter time. The link to this timer will be in the description as well, so be sure to go and check it out. One of the very subtle features that I think gives it that premium feel is how bright the display gets. You're always able to see the timer even in darker settings, and since I do a lot of my work at nighttime, I already know this device is going to come in clutch. So it's almost 4 a.m. It's 3:42 right now. I just finished up setting everything up, and this setup honestly turned out amazing. Like walking into this, it doesn't even feel like I'm in my room. It genuinely feels like I'm in some kind of studio. So it definitely turned out a lot better than I expected. Let me know what you guys think in the comments and what you think I can do to make this a little bit better, because you already know I'm trying to improve this thing. I think it looks pretty good right now, but down the road I could probably change a bunch of stuff around. Right now I am using my AirPods as my main audio device, so I might get a proper wired headset soon, because I already have that audio interface with the XLR cable, so it'd definitely be worth it to get a wired headset. Now my single most favorite thing about this setup has to be how I set this docking station up. Like, this is the most nonchalant docking station setup that I think I've ever seen, and it's honestly perfect because it actually counteracts the weight of the MacBook, so this thing doesn't tip forward, and it's so subtle that you don't even notice it until you look under, and all the ports are still accessible, so you can still use it. It doesn't get in the way of anything, so definitely my favorite thing about the setup. Now overall, I definitely think this is one of my best setups to date, and I've had a lot of gaming setups, so I'm excited to use this thing, and I feel like it's gonna make me so much more productive just because of how minimalistic and easy it is to use. But this honestly came together really well, so thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys again in the next video.